So we've been exploring the First Noble Truth that in life there is suffering, unsatisfactoriness, physical, mental, and emotional. The First Noble Truth invites us to look more closely at our own experience in order to see and feel suffering for ourselves. Now that's important, that for ourselves piece. That's the operative instruction here, because in practice, it's all about seeing for ourselves. That's ehipassiko. Buddha did not want us to trust anyone else, but to trust our own experience. So seeing and feeling clearly is the point of the practice of mindfulness. We train the mind, we train attention to see clearly, and we train the heart, attune the heart to feel clearly. Now, why is that important? Because this is how compassion is aroused. It's in the presence of suffering. When loving kindness, friendliness, comes in contact with stress or unsatisfactoriness, it kindles the heart to arouse compassion. A friend tells you something upsetting, some sad news, and we feel for them. We feel with them. So there are three kinds of dukkha that the Buddha talked about. The first kind of dukkha is called Dukaduka. This is the kind of dukkha that arises in response to unpleasant physical or mental experiences, like Bill's torn retina yesterday, or my migraines, or the loss of grief, the pain and the loss from grief, pain from grief and loss. It's aversion to the experience, to the situation that causes dukkha. Aversion. The second kind of dukkha is called Sankara Dukkha. Sankara is a Pali word that means mental formations, basically deliberate or intentional kinds of thought. So Sankara Dukkha are the upsetting thoughts and mental chatter that add to the experience of suffering. The why me, the shoulds, the shouldn'ts, the judgments, the ruminations, the catastrophic thinking, the anxiety-filled thoughts and questions that we have when upsetting things happen. The third kind of dukkha is called Vipamaranama, Viparanama, Viparanama dukkha. This is the dukkha that arises not in response to unpleasant experiences, but in response to the passing of pleasant ones. Right? So even the lovely experiences in life are not going to last. And because of that, we suffer. We try to hold on, we cling. Viparinama means changing, the dukkha of change. So when I get a migraine or a cold, or again, Bill's retina tears, this is Dukaduka. This is physical dukkha. When my mother died, when my uncle died, and the unpleasant feelings that came with that, the grief and the sorrow that came with that, that's mental dukkha. There's nothing that I could do to prevent that kind of dukkha from arising, because the circumstances of everyone's life are going to include unpleasant experiences. Again, it's the aversion to the unpleasantness that causes dukkha, because we crave or we long for something that other than what is here before us to be here. We are born, therefore we are subject to illness, to injury, to old age, and to loss. Our loved ones and our fellow human beings are also going to experience the same kinds of things. The only way out of dukkha, the only way out is to change our relationship to the experience itself. If we can acknowledge the unpleasant feelings and sensations, if we can see them, be with them, learn how to be with them, let them run their course, then dukkha won't arise. But we tend to fight and struggle. So this is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is such a great support here, because mindfulness is training us to bring this stuff forward, to consciously bring forward, bring into our awareness the suffering. And when we do that, when we can bring it forward and name it, we introduce a gap in the stream of our reactivity. If I don't see it, I'm just going to act out of it. I'm going to just keep getting caught and keep trying to push it away or, do what I can do, but I'm caught. So the seeing of it becomes important because that is what introduces this gap in the stream of reactivity. This gap gives us some time and space that over time, we will be able to forge new patterns of responsivity, right? So we move from reactivity to responsivity. Becoming conscious of the mental chatter, the Sankara Dukkha, that derails and chides us, also interrupts the stream of negativity and introduces a helpful gap. So again, seeing it, consciously bringing it forward, like, oh, look at that. My mind's going, nah, 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 complaining about this, that, and the other. Seeing that, oh, right. Now, even that moment, I've interrupted that habit. And over time, if I keep interrupting like that, I'm going to forge a little gap that will grow bigger and bigger, and over time will give me the space to be able to do something different. Not yet, but I'm beginning to carve that path. So we want to notice the chatter. Take a breath and let it go. Come back, feel your feet on the ground, begin again. Smooth out the physical disturbance that rattles through the body because of the mental chatter. Smooth that out. We can do that. That's within our possibility. Likewise, when pleasant experiences are around, appreciate them. Appreciate that they're around, but bring to mind that they're not going to last. Let's try to remember that. The truth that it's not going to last. This awareness of impermanence reinforces also the importance of savoring, right? Relax into the moment when you enjoy, when you're having a moment of joy and ease, relax into it. Drink deeply from it. And then it passes. Let it go. But that, if you drink deeply from it and notice that it's happening, we start to imprint that experience in our memory banks. And that experience we can use, we can call it forth again when we need it and bring that up. So seeing dukkha is the first step in forming a new relationship with it. We can't do anything about the dukkha unless we see it clearly and know what it is we're looking at. And this is a hard-earned step. There's nothing glamorous about seeing dukkha, right? Nothing glamorous. Doesn't feel good. But that's why you want to so much appreciate that hard-earned effort. You have seen something that's actually causing you suffering. Good job. I like to put a big fat mindfulness star around that. When I see something like that, when I see like the mental chatter going on, and I see myself ruminating, and I label it rumination, and then put a big star around it, take a breath, come on back in, and feel the disturbance of that rumination, and smooth it out. That's good practice. That's good practice. And by seeing that, I am now beginning to forge a new path out of the suffering that I encounter. So this is what we're going to do in our practice.